afternoon.
Good afternoon, how are you?
Fine, thank you. And you?
Good, thank you.
Good. I think it's time for us to have you share a little bit of your story. I think we finally got to see you the other day. And perhaps get to know how you work a little bit and, just your journey and your story.
Okay.
How you have come to be in the position that you're in.
Thank you, Anita. It took a lot for me to show my face the other day because I'm actually very to be under the radar. I don't do what I do for accolades or being famous. I do it for the fact that I can help other people. I've been born into this world the way I am. I was born at 500 grams into this world. I was quite the surprise package actually. Nobody expected me to be there, and I came in fighting into this world, so I guess I've been a warrior most of my life. In the year 2000, I had a near-death experience and I was taken into the light, and then I was sent back because I was then told that my purpose wasn't done. So I was like, I don't understand, what's my purpose? So I was told your purpose is to help and heal people. But I don't want to go back. And most of my life I've been always different from others. Always been the strange child who doesn't really have a good concentration, or she's just in her own world. Growing up, I was taken to psychologists because people couldn't understand me. They thought something's wrong with me. And the psychologist actually said I was hyposensitive. And he said bordering, obviously, psychic, intuition, that kind of person. So that's where that came from, basically. And that's been my journey. But since the near-death experience, I've openly accepted the gift of being able to help and receive and people.
Because it's taken a while to kind of actually accept and own it.
Yeah.
So it would have affected your self-perception as well growing up, right? And you had, thankfully, a professional that could not just diagnose and medicate and do all of that.
Yes, I was very gifted there in that sense because Spirit really had me looked after. Had I just went to any other clinical psychologist, they probably would have said borderline schizophrenia. That would have been quite funny.
At what age?
I started very early. When I was about 3-4 years old, I was able to look at people and tell them stuff, and they used to freak out. And then I would have feelings about things happening, and then being born into an Indian home, immediately I was told you just bad luck, and because whatever I said came to pass. So it was quite difficult really being a child with this gift and trying to grow into it and make sense of it yourself. I remember having my first vision being on the school grounds, and I was in standard 1. And I was watching the kids walking down the stairs, and I looked at this girl and she fell down the stairs, and then as she fell down the stairs, she actually literally fell down the stairs.
So in your vision,
in my vision,
you almost saw it happening.
Yeah.
Just moments before it actually happened.
Yeah, it happened. I saw it. It just finished, and then she really fell.
Right.
And I was like, oh my God, what's going on?
Did they not freak you out?
It was freaky because I couldn't understand how I knew, how I could see her before she fell. And then, as a young kid, I think the scariest thing for me was walking past a cat. And the cat literally, it was a dead cat. The soul of this cat woke up and started walking behind me. And I was still maybe class 2, whatever it was. Yeah. I took my school bag and I literally ran down the road. My brother saying, stop, you're going to get knocked. Like nothing could stop me. I thought the thing was coming to catch me.
Right.
Because I had no guidance and support to make me understand that that was normal for me. So, yeah.
And no language to kind of explain it either.
Exactly.
How did that progress into your teens, into your early 20s? Because obviously you've come in with it.
Yeah. It just became stronger as I grew up, and eventually I was able to hear. It was quite bizarre. The one day I was standing on a stairwell just like maybe 10 steps down, and I could hear a whole spoken conversation word for word as though I was present in the room. And I was like so freaked out because when I went back to work, and it was exactly the same conversation that happened,
Uh-huh.
and the conversation I heard before it even happened. So it was like quite amazing that I could hear those things.
Right. So again, seeing but hearing before something actually occurred.
Yeah.
So not hearing, almost eavesdropping on a
Conversation,
conversation between spirits or angels or anything. This is actually what was going to
be
take
spoken.
place.
Yeah.
So that's what you mean by hearing.
Yeah.
As well.
I could literally hear, like you and I are talking, and I can hear you.
Yeah.
I heard the conversation as
Right.
it was.
Right. So is that also how you can place into different environments and actually be there but not be there at the same time?
Yes, I can. A lot of times people have told me that they've seen me in their homes or their cars, and I'm totally oblivious to these things. And I'm like, how's that even possible? I mean, I don't get it. I've had people tell me that they saw me and they looked at me in the rearview mirror, and the next thing they were diverted from an accident, and I was like, really? How's that possible? You know, for me, a lot of times I'm more in shock than, and my students and clients also say, why are you so shocked? This should be a norm for you. And I'm like, no, everything is still new to me. As much as I can do this every day, it's still very new to me.
What is that newness about?
I think it's because when I'm so guided by spirit, I just take the message and I'm glad to be the conduit. And sometimes the messages that come through me is so mind-blowing for the person as well as myself. Because you sit there and you think like, how the heck did I know this? I mean, okay, I know I'm guided by spirit, but I mean, it's just so shocking. That's all I can say.
Well, it's probably quite. I mean, it's awe-inspiring continually on a day-to-day basis.
Yes, yeah. I mean, don't kid yourself. It's been a very hard journey. A lot of
That was my
time.
next question. Is that how? What made it so hard to accept?
Because the fact that you're always different and people look at you in a different way, and people get intimidated and scared of me, but all I'm there is to help. And I'm like, why are you scared of me? I'm not there to hurt you, I'm there to assist you. And I remember, being a kid wanting to fit in. I'm also being an adult trying to fit in. And it's like I've always been uniquely different. I wouldn't call me oddly different before, but I've just accepted the fact that I am uniquely different. And yeah, that actually took a lot of, believe it or not, I've learned that from my students, that just accept yourself. You're going to be different and it's okay. And I finally am letting myself be seen, which I would never do, because I'm quite happy being under the radar, doing what I do in the background and letting everybody else be in the sunshine. And so yeah, that's just me.
But that's also a really interesting difference, I guess, is that there's a difference between hogging the limelight and kind of trying to be a showman or a versus kind of quietly going about doing what it is that you need to do.
Yeah.
Can you explain that difference? I mean,
well, for me, I think because I know, and I've come to knowing this, that nothing in this world belongs to us. Everything that we are gifted comes from spirit. And by putting yourself out there, trying to make yourself seem more than what you are, you're not being authentic to who you are. And that's how I live my life, being authentic. As a lot of people would, when they recommend people to see me, they always say, Prats is not for everyone. She's too direct. She will just give it to you straight to the point, and a lot of people just get like, oh my god, and I'm as I say, I'm just a messenger.
So you're guided to share what is necessarily relevant for a particular person, and it comes through clearly to you.
Yes.
I know it's probably difficult to describe what that process is and feels like, but can you try? A little.
That's kind of putting me on the spot, but For me, I just hear. I can hear spirit clearly. I can see the visions clearly. I mean, it's amusing to me actually when I do my international readings, when I do the telephonic readings, and sometimes people would actually cut the calls on me, and I'm like, "What's going on?" And they call me back, and so I say, "What happened?" Say, "We're looking for you." So I said, "Looking for me? Where exactly were you looking for me?" "In my house." "How did you know my home?" So my reply to them is always, "I don't. Spirit does." So I'm just given the information. Literally, sometimes it feels like I'm watching a movie in my head, and that's how it comes across. And like when people, like when I give them ages and times and stuff, and they look at me like, "How did you know that?" And my word exactly back to them each and every time is, "It's not me, it's spirit." If spirit didn't communicate that information, I would not know it.
So it's very clear, it's very crisp. There's no fuzziness about it. I mean, if it needs to come across clear, the message is always clear, I guess, and it's direct.
Yes, it's to the point.
And it actually comes with a lot of detail.
Yes, yeah.
It's not some vague, something,
no.
that kind
I take people directly into a point of reference where they can identify.
and not fill in the story basically.
Yes,
So,
no, and a lot of people come to me and say, "Can I tell you something?" And say, "No, you can't tell me anything. You just need to sit, I'll do the talking, and when you're ready, when I tell you it's okay, you can ask me questions and I can elaborate on it." But I don't go around letting you do the talking and telling me, because that's not what I'm there for. I'm there to find what the issue is and then work it through with you and help you find resolution. And I find a lot of my clients come back to say, like, it's like I hit the nail right on the head. And I always say, and I'm very grateful for being used as a conduit by spirit.
Because I guess that's, we're at an interesting time in awakening, I guess, and actually people needing healing and going a more spiritual route. But unfortunately, there are a lot of people who are not always meaning well, or they mean well but are very unconscious to actually, not being able to handle the enormity of this world, actually. I'm just curious about how one can tell the difference, I guess, between somebody who's clear cut and fully guided and channeled versus people who are less developed in that way and can actually maybe sometimes do harm.
I do get a lot of people coming to me and say, I've been to that person and negative things have come about, and I'm actually more broken than when I started. And as I always say, I'm not here to condemn other people. I'm not here to say I'm better or less or more or anything. I just know I'm a conduit and I'm guided. And for that statement, I actually can't really answer it because I don't know how.
Sure.
So I don't want to be unjust to other people because that's not what I'm there for.
For sure.
But I can talk on my behalf.
Yes.
And I just know when somebody comes to me and spirit is guiding me, whatever information comes to me, I know is guaranteed to be what spirit needs them to know. And a lot of times my people break down and they're like, "Wow, how did you know that?" And I mean, like sometimes I have people that have had miscarriages or they've had abortions, anything like that. And I will pick it up and I will say to them, "But at this time, da 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 da." And they look at me like, and they'll like cry and say, "But how did you know?" And I say, "Because I can see it, because I'm guided to see it." And for me, I think me learning to totally trust my gift, I had to really throw myself and immerse myself into my gift after my divorce. Because there I was helping so many people, and believe me, there's days in my life where I said to spirit, "You think more of me than I think of myself." Because there's days where I'd say, "Oh, I just can't do this anymore, I really want to quit." Because this is not easy. People think being the way we are is something, a walk in the park. It's far from it. And I mean, I've had negative attacks on me more than one time in my lifetime. And some points the doctors actually say this is not medical, because they can clearly see it's not medical. Because there's no physical or ailment that can be said to be such.
Right.
So I've had instances where, as I'm talking to you now, I would feel something in my mouth, and I'll feel like a line. And if I run my tongue, it'll feel like a line across my mouth. And I would just put my hand there, and you'll just see blood gushing out my mouth. And the doctors even said this is not medical. It can't be medical. There's no explanation as to why.
And happening in the hospital, in front of them almost.
In front of the doctors, in the presence. They tried everything. To the point that they said there's nothing more they can do. They were just going to pray. And I was there like for 15 days. And then early parts of the morning, I had a vision. In the vision, I was told to do certain things, and the bizarre thing, well, I shouldn't call it bizarre, they moved my bed. And when they moved my bed, I was put in, there was a cupboard next to the bed. And within that cupboard was exactly the leaves which was in my vision, a handful of it. And I obviously could not talk, so all I could do was write and try and explain what needed to be done. And my mom and them organized the stuff, and then we used a chili sauce bottle because you can't touch my mouth, it was raw, and shot it into my throat. Within 3 days, I pulled an absolute total recovery. The doctors looked like, how is this even possible? So even the doctor said to me, he says, you're a walking miracle, you know. And I don't portray to be a monk or somebody so superior who needs to be this holier than thou person. I'm just me, you know. I do the cup that other people do. I don't portray to be nothing. I mean, I'm not vegetarian. I was at one time, my body shut down. I'm not going to present myself as something so angelic because I'm not. I'm just a person. I'm just being used as a conduit. And that's who I am.
So you're a human having this human experience, but you're here to do some work.
Yes.
And you're a conduit for spirit to come in and do what needs to be done.
Yes, to assist the world.
Yeah.
In all that I do.
Because that's the other perception out there, that one needs to be quite pious or, you know, kind of, there's a picture of what a spiritual person should look like, or somebody like you should look like. And that often can also put people off.
Yes, I actually had a client of mine ask me, but you know, for me to be spiritual, that means I have to leave my life. And I said, why would you think that? He says, but I really want to embark on my spiritual journey, but I'm so scared I have to leave my life. And I was like, no, there's absolutely no reason for that. You can just be you. Still live your life. Be the person that you are, and still tap into your spiritual side. There's no cut and dry story that, oh, you got it now. I mean, it's people's beliefs. It's all about perception. That now you suddenly got to be vegan, you got to be doing this, and you got to be doing that. Not supposed to swear, not supposed to be rugged. You're just supposed to be this, all about love and light. That's totally not me.
Well,
I'm about love and light, but I mean, I'm not going to say, oh, my lovelies, oh, my sweethearts, you know, God said. Because when I speak to spirit as I would anybody else. And spirit has never told me, okay, Prax, this is what you need to do. And I always say, and I've always been saying it to my students, the day spirit tells me, Prax, don't do this, I will immediately stop. But spirit has given me that breath of fresh air. Spirit has allowed me to have my human existence. You know, he's allowing me to be the person I'm supposed to be, as well as be the healer and the person that can help other people.
Because isn't that generally the point, is integration, right? Is to kind of have a good handle on actually your shadow part, or, you know, that's with your light, and that's actually what makes you whole.
Exactly, because you have to merge your shadow self with your light self, or else you can't be complete and whole. Because a lot of times they say, but anger is dark. But then who doesn't get angry? I'm human, you're human. I mean, we're not living on a mountain where there's no other person.
Yeah, to be poked and prodded and kind of be.
So, I mean, when you see that person, then you can be so grateful that I'm now seeing another person. I also have sugars just like you would. And what frustrates me is people expect you to be. I actually have people who think I'm not human, which is quite ridiculous, really. And I always laugh. I mean, in May this year, Spirit had warned me not to take a walk, and I was frustrated and I was upset. And that was a clear indicator of how human I can be and how Spirit can be there to warn you, but you still have free will. And I chose to walk. And Spirit said to me 3 times, do not walk. And I was like, I don't care what you're saying, I'm not in a good mood, I'm going for a walk. And I did. And for the first time in all my years of existence, I was attacked. A guy pulled a gun on me and he took my cell phone away. And I was upset with Spirit, immediately, obviously, like, why aren't I protected? But then it wasn't Spirit's fault, it was me being stubborn. And I actually had a few students step away from me now because I'm human. And I faltered, just like everybody else does. And people don't realize being spiritual has a lot of pressure. Pressure from societies, pressure from everything. And I don't portray to be what I'm not. And I always say to my students and anybody who comes to see me, I am just human. I do what I do. And like people come to me and say, so what's your qualifications? I'm a hairstylist, massage therapist, dawn method healer. Have I done any spiritual courses? I've attended a hyperdimensional being course, workshop. Spiritually, I've got no accreditation except for Spirit. So I said, I go to the College of Spirit, so I don't know, does that come with a certificate? Because clearly I don't know. So I was like, and they look at me like, okay, like really, are you? And I mean, to me, that's just that. I mean, I literally can go into any space at any given time through the guidance of Spirit. I can talk to you as a doctor would. I can talk to you as a lawyer would. And people get amazed that I can. But it's not me.
I mean, I've experienced that.
Exactly. Like, I can use those terminologies. And it's not that it's me talking, it's Spirit.
What do you think we're needing as humanity at the moment? Like, you here and...
I believe we all need to be authentic to ourselves. We need to break away from the stereotype of what spiritual is.
Or what being human is like, so...
Exactly, we falter, we make mistakes. I mean, I've made mistakes. We all do. Lessons are learned, and that's part of our human journey. But you get a lot of people that portray that, no, because you are on this human spiritual journey, you got to sacrifice, you're going out and dancing, drinking is taboo, eating meat is taboo. But I mean, if that's what your lifestyle is, why do you have to totally throw everything out the door?
I guess we must be careful, or are they saying things that
you are supposed to be cautious.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, there's a lot of dark as well as light. And yes, some things do open portals in you and does leave you open to attack or something possessing you or coming into your being. But it doesn't mean that you shut down your whole life. And I teach my students, if you're a meat eater, you bless the carcass. You bless the carcass for the sustenance. Yes, it's not nice to eat something that just died, but if your body needs it, it requires it. That lamb or that cow knew when it came into this planet, it was going to be sacrificed for the sustenance of whoever. Because each soul knows its journey. To other people, they would say that's animal cruelty. To other people, will say that's just mean. How can you be spiritual and eat that? But how can you not?
So everything has its place.
Exactly. But you have the extremists in everything.
Yeah, always.
So I just tell my students, be true from your heart, be authentic, and just be yourself.
How do we learn that though? Because there's a lot of conditioning, a lot of, when you're a child, that you get waylaid because of many things.
I get a lot of people, and it's quite sad, they're afraid to die because they believe that you're going to be so badly punished for this world and this life. I have people where they come in and they feel they're carrying the weight of the world on their shoulders, and it's quite sad really, because They feel because they made one bad choice. Now God is really so repulsed by you that you're now thrown to the dark. Which is just conditioning from beliefs, really. Because God hasn't done that. All God says is serve from unconditional love, be authentic, and you will be on your way. You will find your direction. You will know exactly where to go. And the tragedy is, a lot of us just feel so guilty. And like when people hear me talk to Spirit, they're like, really, do you speak to Spirit like that? And I'm like, of course. Spirit doesn't expect me to talk any less. I said actually Spirit likes when I go to sleep, I think. Because probably says, oh thank God, thank me that she's gone to sleep now.
Yeah. Right.
Because she continually be talking.
So it's a real, I mean, it's a depth of relationship that you have with Spirit, basically.
Yeah.
Source. And for each of us to wake up to ourselves.
Exactly, embrace your shadow self. Embrace those qualities which are negative. Don't delve into it and stay there, but embrace it. Acknowledge it, accept it, and then merge your light energy with that and move forward. Don't dwell,
And to stop feeling so crap about ourselves.
Exactly.
The self-worth thing is quite
a big thing. Yeah, it is a very big thing. And I mean, as experienced as I am and as energetically equipped as I am, I still have my days where I also go inside there. And I have my moments of oh my God, what am I doing here? I just want, and most of my life, all I've ever wanted to go is back home. And I had my opportunity where I was sent home and then they sent me back.
Home as in home.
As in home to God. So it's quite weird because I've always had this fixation on going back home. So I now have a thing where I said, okay, I've given myself so many years, I'm going to help more, train more students, get them all in their light and their energy, and then I'm going home. And it's like, So I've now come to terms with Spirit, I will come home the day you call me home. I'm no more going to fight about it. I'm not going to be ready every day and say, okay, can you take me home now? So I'm just going to do what I do. And Spirit has given me a book, which I have written about the healers. And how we embrace and not be judgmental of each other.
Right.
But Spirit does not say we can't be discerning.
Yeah.
And that's the part which had me in awe.
Right.
Because you would think that, and the amazing thing is, in the chart that Spirit gave me to draw, as a healer, there's no such thing as power. You don't have power as a healer. You don't. You're a conduit.
Yeah.
Spirit has the power.
Yeah.
Not you.
Yeah. That's the ego thing, right?
Yes.
That's when you attach to
Exactly. And it was quite amazing because Spirit gave me the shadow self, and Spirit gave me the light self, the healer self. And it was really amazing. And I just love the idea of being able to assist people. And when I see the changes, and I actually get emotional because it's when they come back and they say, wow, you literally changed my life upside down. I don't recognize myself. And then they say, but thanks to you. And I said, no, it's not to me. It's thanks to you that you did the work. You were willing to embrace your gifts. You were willing to do the work, not me. I was only the guide. I was just there to say, okay, this is what you do. This is how we do it. I can't take credit for it. Even though they'll tell me, stop being so modest. Stop being so modest. Just take the compliment.
But is that not the essence of the lesson then, actually, for people, is how to walk that narrow line? You can say thank you for the compliment, sure, but actually don't own it, right?
Exactly, because I don't own anything, and that's why my clients get upset. They said, can you just stop being so modest? And I said, it's not about modesty. It's about the fact that nothing belongs to me.
And that more of us need to learn that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
In a blink of an eyelid, everything can be taken away from you. Even your gifts. If you're not doing it justice and you're doing the negatives and you continue not learning your lessons, it can be taken away.
So we keep working on ourselves, no matter who you are, no matter where you're at in your journey.
Yes, no matter how many years of healing or how many years you've been a healer or a psychic or a medium or a whatever, we constantly work on ourselves. There's no such thing as we're perfect. And neither one are better than each other. Because we all, in Spirit's eyes, are equal. The man under the bridge is equal to us. But it's his choices that is taken in there.
Are these gifts available to everybody? How does that work?
Everybody is born with the ability to know. A lot of people, because of programming and the way you are brought into this world, a lot of people are shunned away from it. A lot of people have had visions as kids and seen their imaginary friends, and then they are taken away from it because you don't do those things. It's against our belief system. It's against our religion, and you naturally close it off. But then you get some of us who are also born with a much more deeper knowing, and we hold on to it because that's our journey, and we are supposed to use it to help and assist and make people become more aware of their own. And that's what I love about teaching my students, because it's quite, for me, it's an exciting process, because as I teach them, I learn. I totally learn. And nothing that I teach comes from a textbook. Everything I teach to my students is uniquely made for that student. I only know the lesson when the student is in front of me. I never can plan a lesson because I don't know what's coming.
There's no lesson plan.
There's no planned lessons. It's just that I've got to sit there, and when they come in, Spirit knows, and the information just comes. And I've been blessed that I've been channeled cards which have been given to a student. I've been channeled a healing blanket which has been given to another student. I've been channeled a module for a student that's going to be soon, in the next 2021, should be up and running, a new system of schooling for new age children. So I've been blessed, with giving another student the way to help people to integrate their ways, and through coaching. So it's not like I've got all types of students, all religions, all races, and I've been able to teach each and every one based on their own religion and their own belief. And a lot of people look at me and say, "How do you know that scripture?" I don't. They said, "But you just said it." And I said, "No, I didn't. I said, Spirit did." So yeah.
Which I think then is, I guess we can wrap now, the ultimate in actually what we're needing to do on the planet is understand the oneness, or understand that Spirit is everything, and that,
And Spirit is the creator and the everything of this universe. Not specifically a way. Before we wrap up, I always see people fighting over religion and beliefs. And very often people say, "But